Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Injury Law Pod. I am your host, Eric Bartlett, 29-year personal injury lawyer, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things personal injury law related. And up today, just in time for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we're going to talk about dash cams and the critical importance dash cams can play in a car accident situation where you have a personal injury. And I've talked about this before, and I just can't tell you enough how many times dash cam footage has helped our clients who otherwise might not be able to make a claim. So just imagine, for example, it's 5:30 p.m. You're on I-35 leaving downtown Kansas City. There's light rain, stop and go traffic, and an SUV swerves, clips your front bumper. You spin, your airbags go off, and the other driver says, "You merged into them." Well, and there's no witnesses. So now what? How do you prove who did what? That's where dash cams come into play because now you have a witness and it's your video from your dash cam. And that can be a game changer. Again, we see a lot of it. We see people where somebody runs a red light, causes a collision, and then that person is telling the police that no, they had the green light and the person that's injured had the red light. And again, if there's nobody to back up your story, it's word against word and it goes nowhere because you have to remember in Missouri, the person making the claim for personal injury, has the burden to prove the claim. And so if you can't do it, your word against the other person's word, that's not going to get it done, then that's going to be a problem. Listen, before we get too much further, I want you to stick around till the end. We're going to do a giveaway. We're going to give away a dash cam. And so stick around to the end to find out how you can enter for that. But now let's talk a little bit more about why dash cams, why that video is so critical when there is an accident. And again, what better time to talk about this than right now when there are great deals on dash cams? Really, there's no reason you shouldn't have one in your car. And as I've said before, in your kids' cars, if you've got teenagers driving, it's a great tool to have because let's face it, if an adult causes an accident with a teenager, they're much more likely to try and blame the teenager, and the credibility of a young driver may not carry as much weight as the credibility of an older experienced driver. But again, if you have a dash cam in place, you've got the video, you win. That's how it works. I've also had situations where somebody else's dash cam video has helped my client's case. As a matter of fact, I had one where somebody was just sitting in a parking lot, their car was running, the dash cam was on, and it captured the accident. And it was critical for us making the case. So, again, you just never know how this is all going to play out. But we have to remember this: Missouri is a pure comparative fault state. So, what does that mean? That means fault can be assessed amongst two people in any percent that you can imagine. 100% to, say, the true at fault driver, to 100% to the person that wasn't at fault, and anywhere in between 50-50, 70-30, whatever that looks like. So again, you've got to have the evidence to support a clear case against the party that was truly in the wrong for an accident. And that is why video doesn't lie, right? Unless somebody's editing it and doing weird things, but true unedited video does not lie. It tells the actual story. So right now, coming up for sale, according to a recent article in Road and Track, the some of the best deals on dash cams. There is the 05 S1 Ultra. So it's about $100 right now on sale. It's just under $100. And it gets top pick honors from Road and Track. And again, we're going to list this article in our notes so you can obviously get more detail there. But just to give you an overview, there's the Garmin Dash Cam Mini 3. Again, right now, about $100. And it's another solid choice. There's the 70 MAI dual dash cam. Now this one, you're going to pay about $260, which is about 25% off the normal price. And it's designed for drivers who want full motion clarity ahead and behind. So it's going to monitor your entire viewing area. And again, you never know, right? You might have a rear end situation, something like that. This camera is going to capture it all. So again, you can certainly get around the $100 mark and pick up one. You can spend a couple $100 and pick up an all-inclusive one. But right now is the time to really consider it. You got to think about too, make sure if you do buy one, you got to think about where to mount it to get the best view, how the footage is being stored. And you always want to make sure, right, that you're able to retrieve your footage in the event you need it. You want to make sure that if it's on a flash drive or an SD card, that you've got enough memory there to keep maybe 30 days worth of video just in case something comes up down the road. But again, these are just so critical because he said, she said situations, they don't work. But press play, that works. And in the high-speed corridors that we have here in the Kansas City metropolitan area, I-29, I-35, I-70, 71 highway, 152 highway, 435, there's lots of lane changes, merging, construction. Just as of yesterday, I have two, not one, but two calls come in, semi trucks who merged over and collided with vehicles that my now clients were occupying. And what we find a lot of times is in those situations, the truck driver will say, they weren't there when I went to merge. They must have been speeding something. They came up quickly or whatever it looks like. They came up after I already started my turn. And again, if you have video evidence showing that you were in the lane the whole time, you weren't speeding, this truck just came over, it was next to you and it came over and collided with your car, you win. It's that simple. There is no guessing and there is no he said, she said, or he said. A lot of these common scenarios, they involved you slammed on your brakes, that's why I rear-ended you, or you changed lanes without signaling, or you were on your phone, all those things, right? But again, if you just don't have any video evidence to counter any of this stuff, then you're not going to be able to make a claim. And if you're seriously hurt, it could be a big problem. And also, you've got a car now that may be highly damaged and you have no way to recover that, or you have to go to your own insurance. And now that's going to ding your insurance. So again, I just can't stress the importance of having this video evidence to support your claim. Because again, without video, it's going to be, are there witnesses? Did anybody see it? Did anybody stop and give a name and a number? And if not, it's just dueling stories. And that is a problem. Missouri courts generally allow dash cam footage as evidence if it's relevant and it's authenticated. And to authenticate any type of like photograph or video, basically somebody has to come on the stand, the witness stand, and testify that photograph or that video evidence, that is a fair representation of the scene as it existed at the time of the accident. So it's very easy to authenticate a video or a photograph or something like that, but it has to be done. And then again, it'll most likely be considered relevant and a court will allow it into evidence. And again, some of these cameras, they have built-in speed tracking, so it can show how fast you were going. Again, it obviously is going to show what lane you were in. It's going to show sometimes your braking mechanism, things like that. It's going to show weather and lighting conditions. It's going to show whether traffic was stopped or flowing. Again, it's just such a great way to capture the entire scene of an accident right before, during, and after. And I can't stress enough in our own personal injury practice how many times dash cam footage has been the difference between a no offer and a real recovery. And to just touch a minute on what I mentioned earlier about comparative fault in Missouri, let's just say there's a liability dispute in some type of an injury claim. And if a jury assesses some amount of fault to the person that's making the claim, then whatever the jury awards that person for their compensation, the judge is going to reduce that amount by the percentage of fault that was placed on the person making the claim. So, easy example, a jury values a case at $100,000. They put 40% on the person making the claim. The person making the claim is only going to get $60,000. But if a dash cam footage convinces them maybe you're only 10% at fault, then obviously that's 90,000 instead of 60,000. So it's a big difference. Or maybe again, there's no fault on you and you get the full 100,000. That's why it's so critical. I just cannot emphasize it enough, but every percentage of fault is real money when you're seeking compensation. And video is often the best way to fight that downward push. It's hard to argue with video evidence. Now, before you think that drivers don't make up stories, I want to talk to you about some real world examples. And this cool gadget, this dash cam, right? It's more than just a cool gadget. It can have real implications if you're ever faced with a situation where you've been hurt and somebody is at fault for that. So, for example, Missouri law often assumes that the rear driver is at fault. So, if you're sitting at a stoplight, somebody rear ends you, right? It's all their fault. There's no fault on you. You were just sitting there. But there's the scenarios where the at fault driver tries to say they started backing up. They backed into me. I didn't know what was happening. They stopped suddenly. I had no time to do anything. The dash cam can show that you were stopped at a red light. The other driver never even touched their brakes. And there was no sudden reckless lane change or sudden stopping by you. By that, it limits your percentage of fault and it counters you cut me off arguments, you stop suddenly, things like that. It becomes a non-argument. And what else it does is it shows the other driver is a liar. And as we all know, nobody likes a liar. So now you've potentially increased the value of your claim because the other person is not credible. And so all of this ties together. Another scenario is, say, a T-bone on a city street intersection, and for example, maybe 39th Street or North Oak and 152 type intersections, right? Very busy. Who had the green light, right? And again, the dash cam can capture your steady speed approaching the intersection, the light cycling, if that's visible, or at least the timing of the lights, and that the other vehicle clearly entered on a red or failed to yield on a yellow, whatever that looks like. Again, you've got the video evidence, and this can turn a 50-50, we don't really know who was at fault, into a clear liability case. One other example, if there's a multi-vehicle pileup, say that happens on I-70 or in winter weather, comparative fault can get really messy there because when there's more than 3 vehicles involved, it's sometimes hard to figure out whose car hit who first. And if you're in the middle of a multi-car pileup, trying to figure out if you got pushed into a car ahead of you, this person ahead of you is going to claim you rear-ended somebody. But if you can show, right, that you got rear-ended first, you got pushed into that other vehicle, that's going to put the responsibility on the true at-fault driver, one that's behind you. And it's going to clear you from responsibility for that car ahead of you. That car ahead of you can now make a claim against the person that started the entire chain reaction event. But it can also show that you had the appropriate distance between you and the vehicle ahead of you, whether you were driving reasonably for the conditions and things like that. And finally, the hit and run. If a vehicle causes an accident and leaves the scene, guess what? With dash cam video, you may just have the ability to track them down, because now you can give the video of the vehicle. Maybe it captured the license plate. You can give all that over to the police, and through their work, they can potentially find the at fault driver. And that way, or the other part of that is, if they never do, you've got video showing this phantom vehicle, is basically what we're going to call it, right? They hit, they ran, they disappeared into the night. And now, if you're making an uninsured claim with your own coverage, you have video evidence to support the claim. You're not just making this up. The insurance company isn't questioning you. Did this really happen or not? Here it is. This is what happened. The vehicle was never identified. The driver was never identified. All right. So turning to a little bit more about the specific dash cam deals that are out there. Again, as of now, here are some of the standout deals that I've seen. The prices and the discounts can change, so always double check. Again, we'll have a couple links down here. But this Mio 5 S1 Ultra, it's like the 4K workhorse for daily commuters. You've got, again, Road and Track saying that it's got 4K front and rear recording. It's got an 8 megapixel sensor. It's got built-in GPS to log your speed and your location. It's got a 3.0 inch screen plus Bluetooth, dual band 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi for quick clip downloads. So you can get those off of the camera onto your phone. There's a 24-hour parking mode with a hardware kit. So if you want that thing on all the time to monitor your vehicle, and again, it's normally $130. Right now, it's $98. So it's a good one to grab. Great for folks that commute daily. Again, on I-29, 35, 152, 435, you get the front and the rear coverage. That's huge for both rear end wrecks and being accused of backing into someone. And that GPS data can help reconstruct the crash. Here's where I was. Here's how fast I was going. Things like that are documented. The Garmin Dashcam Mini 3, it's a tiny camera, but it offers big proof. So this camera is about the size of a car key. It hides behind your rear view mirror, so it's not even a big monstrosity there in your car. It offers 1080p video, 140-degree field of view. The Garmin Polarizer cuts windshield glare, which is huge because, there are times, right, where the sun's coming in and it's very difficult to see out in front of you. And there's an HDR that helps in low light as well. It's voice controlled. It works with the Garmin Drive app, and it's normally around $150, but it's on sale right now for $100. That's on Amazon and Walmart. It's great for folks who maybe park a lot downtown or in the Plaza River Market and don't want a visible device attracting thieves, right? It's obscure, it's there, but it's not bringing attention. And it's ideal for a first dash cam for someone who just wants reliable front facing proof without cables and screens everywhere. So it's rechargeable. It's a great little fit to have in your car. And then there's the 70 MAI dual dash cam. We'll call it the full story 4K front and rear. And with this one, you get genuine 4K resolution front and rear, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi plus GPS logging, HDR for those high contrast scenes, and app control. Again, working to enhance the video quality. This one normally goes for $340, and right now it's on sale for $260. So it's a really nice one, and it's going to give you everything that you want. It's perfect for people that are doing long highway miles, say, for example, truckers, sales reps. If you go back and forth to the lake or make trips like that, where rear end and lane change disputes are common, it can capture crystal clear plate images, signs, lane markings, makes it easier for us as lawyers to recreate what happened. Finally, the Viofo A229 Pro 4K, it's evidence grade clarity for serious drivers. If you spend a large amount of time on the road, whether it's for your job or otherwise, you're going to want a really serious dash cam, because obviously the likelihood of you being in an accident goes up the more you're on the road. And Road and Track notes on this camera, it's got front 4K HDR Sony Starvis 2 sensor plus rear 2K HDR Starvis 2. It's got 140-degree front point of view. It's got fast Wi-Fi. It's got GPS. It's got a robust parking mode. It's got everything you would want. And it's normally $350, but right now you can find it for $220. Again, it's great for people who really care about low light performance. Think early morning commutes, late night going home, late night bar traffic, fog, rain, whatever it looks like. That's the camera for you. And that quality can matter when you're zooming in to see brake lights, turn signals, pedestrian in a crosswalk. You may be trying to get that license plate, whatever it is. This is the camera you're going to want. There's some others out there as well. But again, we're going to put the link up. So make sure you do a good exploration and figure out which one makes the most sense for you. But here's the deal. Turn ownership into actual protection when a crash happens. What do I mean by that? Missouri is a one-party consent state for audio. You can record conversations you are a part of without telling the other person. But be cautious about audio of passengers, kids, coworkers, etc. You don't need audio to make a strong case, but usually video alone is enough. But in public spaces and roadways, there's less expectation of privacy, and you always want to be respectful and not weaponize your recordings. But it's good to have audio that goes along. Again, tire screeching, the sound of the collision, those types of things. It just gives more impact to what was experienced by the person that's injured. So right after an accident, what do you need to do? Obviously, you got to preserve that footage. Obviously, make sure everyone's safe. Call 911. Tell the investigating police officer you have a dash cam video. Find out how you can get that in their hands. Save and back up that file as soon as possible. You stop the loop recording. You get it over to your app on your phone, your computer, whatever that looks like. Don't edit it. Don't slice it. Don't add music. As lawyers, we're going to want the raw file to avoid claims of tampering, because that's the one thing, if you're dealing with video, that it's just not going to be helpful if it's been messed with in any way, shape, or form. So again, remember this. If you've been hurt in an accident, I always suggest reach out to a personal injury lawyer as quickly as possible. If you're seriously hurt, there's too many things that can be missed, too much evidence that can go away. And if you're not thinking about that stuff, it can cost you. Dash cam footage can be time sensitive because the cards get overwritten. You got to make sure you take those steps to preserve it. And again, remember this: place that camera where the manufacturer suggests. Make sure you're testing the view. Make sure that you're mounting it high, potentially behind the rear view mirror if possible, where it doesn't block your view. It has a clear view of everything ahead of you. Make sure the angle captures lane markings, traffic signals, the hood of your vehicle, for example. You just want it to have a really good view of what's out there in front of you. And if it's also recording behind you, take a look at how that's getting captured as well. If you buy one that has cables and things like that, you can route the cables neatly so they don't interfere with airbags or driving. You might even consider a professional install. And this is like for the ones, especially that have a rear view camera option. you're going to have to run something from the front to the back. And surprisingly, it's not that much to have somebody do that for you. So the takeaway here is dash cams turn your car into a 24/7 witness. Again, in Missouri's pure comparative fault system, good video can literally put money back in your pocket, or it can create a situation where instead of walking away with nothing, you get fully compensated. So it's just absolutely critical because it shrinks your fault percentage. And again, if you have the at fault driver saying it was your fault, that creates a problem when you're making that kind of a claim. And there are legit deals right now, from budget friendly front cams like the Garmin Mini 3 to the full 4K front rear setups like the Mio 5 S1 Ultra and the Viofo A229 Pro. So there's a lot of great options, a lot of good reasons to get a dash cam in your car. And if you want more on this, you can go back. I did a video long ago on this being part of the critical evidence needed to make a claim. You can watch it again here. And otherwise, as far as this giveaway goes, we are going to give away one of these awesome dash cams. So how do you enter to win? You like this video and you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and you will be entered, and we will announce that winner in a couple weeks. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. And as always, stay safe and stay well.